Mike Trout is very good at baseball. Watch him play for like maybe 8 seconds and you'll get that impression. Mike Trout has now played in 10 different MLB seasons, meaning he's played long enough to be on the Hall of Fame ballot someday if he just gave up now. So it's a fair time to gauge just how good he is at baseball. And oh my goodness, he's very good. At this point, most baseball fans and non-baseball fans understand that Mike Trout is special. You would think this topic has been beaten to death already, and deservedly so. His baseball reference page is a meme by itself, but at the same time, most people don't have enough perspective. Most people need a fresh look at baseball's brightest star. Where does Mike Trout stand in this game today, and where is he in the all-time power rankings? We need to get existential and place Mike Trout in the context of all things baseball. The point of this video is to go through some facts that show how objectively good Mike Trout is, to sort of quantify the talent that we all know is there. Let's do it. Since he has started playing, he has been 76% better offensively than the average player over the same time. Basically how you calculate that is the OPS plus stat, which approximates a player's on-base percentage plus their slugging percentage, then adjusted for league and park factors. The lowest percentage he's been better than the average at since 2012 is 68%. Lowest. He led baseball in OPS plus every year from 2016 to 2019, and even in 2020 put up a 168 OPS plus. This was his worst OPS plus since 2012. At his worst, he's 68% better than average hitters. You also need to keep in mind that the 2020 season was only 60 games long, about 37% the length of a regular schedule. Mike Trout still hit 17 home runs in 2020. That's a pace of almost 46 in a full season. In Mike Trout's worst season, he was on pace to hit a career high in homers. His career OPS is an even 1,000. His career slugging percentage is .582, which means he averages more than one base every 2 at-bats. That's the 9th highest slugging percentage of all time. Look at the list of names he's behind. These dudes can rake, and so can Mike Trout, obviously. From 2012 to 2019, he has finished first or second in the MVP voting every year but one, 2017, when he missed over 40 games because of an injury and he still finished in 4th place. And he still led the league in OPS plus and each individual subcategory that goes into OPS. This man is just built different. In 2020, Mike Trout was in the 99th percentile for exit velocity. He hits the ball hard. In fact, he was also in the 97th percentile for hard hit percentage and 93rd percentile for making contact on the barrel of the bat. He hits like the kids on Jimmy Neutron with the scientifically engineered cheating bats. As if that video of his golf shot couldn't tell you that already. Mike Trout hits balls very hard, which means that they travel very fast off his bat. He also travels very fast as a human being. His sprint speed was in the 94th percentile in 2020. He was tied for 4th in home runs and 27th in average sprint speed in the same year. That's a nice, really deadly combo right there. Not a stat, but Mike Trout did this once. Trout has been on 8 All-Star teams already. That's more than Frank Thomas, Edgar Martinez, Sammy Sosa, Max Scherzer, Willie Stargell, David Wright, and Tim Raines had. It's been as many as Pedro Martinez, Clayton Kershaw, Greg Maddux, Chipper Jones, Robinson Cano, and Nolan Ryan had. The difference is, Mike Trout has 8 All-Star appearances, 1 per each of the full seasons he's played in. And he would have been an All-Star in 2020, so we can give him brownie points for that too. All of those other guys played or have played for 12 or 13 years at least, and Mike Trout has already outdone them in the shortest amount of time possible. He once went from July 12th, 2015 to April 7th, 2019 without winning a Player of the Week award, because he was just so good every week that his standouts seemed less special, and he was just that consistent. Kristaps Porzingis' entire Knicks tenure started and ended in that window. He's led his league in win probability added in a season 5 times. He's actually 4th among active players in that stat too, with the only guys above him having at least 4 years of seniority in the league on him. And he's already in the top 60 in Major League history in that. Keep in mind, he's only played in 10 seasons. Major League Baseball itself has been around a lot longer than that. He's one of just 8 position players ever to reach 10 wins above replacement in a season 3 times. He also set the record for WAR for players through their age 26 season, and is behind only Ted Williams for WAR in a player's first 8 years. Trout's career B-WAR is 74.3. That's the second highest among any active player. Higher than Miguel Cabrera, Robinson Cano, Joey Votto, everyone except Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols made his major league debut more than 10 years before Mike Trout, too. Pujols' WAR through 9 full seasons was 73.8. If we're being technical, Mike Trout has played more like 7 full seasons and has already beaten that. Basically, no one else around can really touch him, except this guy, who happens to be his teammate. This is probably how most of their conversations go on both sides.
Stay out of my territory.
Ever since he was 21 years old, his closest similarity score by age has been either Mickey Mantle or Frank Robinson, every single year. Mickey Mantle and Frank Robinson. 2 players up there in the greatest of all time discussion. Even with that, no hitter has a really strong statistical similarity to Mike Trout through his career. He's played for 10 seasons and has left enough of a unique run of performance that there's no true perfect comparison. That's hard to do. We talked about OPS plus earlier. Mike Trout has the 5th highest OPS plus ever. That means the offensive gap between him and the average player around him is the 5th biggest any hitter has ever achieved. The 4 above him are Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, Barry Bonds, and Lou Gehrig. Decent company. And finally, JAWS is a stat that tries to balance longevity with peak performance to try to rank players by position and gauge their Hall of Fame worthiness. Per JAWS, Mike Trout is the 5th best center fielder in baseball history, better than Ken Griffey Jr. JAWS judges peak by taking the total wins above replacement rating of a player's 7 best seasons. Mike Trout, at his peak, has been better than Mickey Mantle in his prime. And just going off of 7-year peak WAR, he's the 3rd best center fielder ever, behind only Willie Mays and Ty Cobb. And you know what's even scarier? He's not even close to done yet. Going off the precedent of comparable players, if there are any, his career may not even be half over. If he plays out the rest of his contract, definitely not. He's in a great position to do incredible things. He'll compile some huge accomplishments and will most certainly add little pieces of information to this resume of a video in no time. He's the undisputed best player in baseball right now, but what those around baseball might not fully grasp is that he's already one of the best to ever do it, and doesn't even seem close to the end. Here's to a long and fruitful career for Mike Trout and his Baseball Reference page. We're really thankful to have you, and we're really appreciative of what you're doing. Hope to see your plaque in Cooperstown down the line.